In this lesson, we're going to learn how to manipulate variables through assignment and arithmetic operators. Alright, so let's go ahead and open up our script. Above my variables, I'm going to go ahead and list out all of the different assignment operators first. So let's go ahead and create what's called a multi-line comment. A comment is a way that we can create notes in our scripts. So I'm going to do this by using a / and then holding Shift and 8 to create an asterisk. Notice that everything below it is now grayed out. This means that it is now being commented out. Let's go ahead and hit enter one time, and let's start adding in our information. So I'm going to go ahead and add in assignment operators. Okay. Below this, let's go ahead and put in the equal sign. The equal sign basically assigns data to something else. So we've already seen an example of this. We have used our speed as a variable, and we assigned it the data of 10.0f. The next one that we have is plus equals. Plus equals is very helpful because it allows us to create shorthand in our equations. It's the same thing as saying x equals x plus y. Okay. With shorthand, using the plus equals, it'll be written out like this: x plus equals y. We have the same thing for minus equals, so x equals x minus y. And again, it's exactly like this: x minus equals y. So these two mean the exact same thing. So on our next line, we're going to say multiplied equals. Okay, obviously that's going to multiply, so it's going to be x equals x times y. And then we have divide equals. Okay, and then we have modulo equals. Now we'll talk about what modulus is here in just a moment. But you see, these are the different assignment operators that we can use whenever we're working with our scripts. So now let's talk about our arithmetic operators. So here, obviously, we're going to have the plus, so that is addition. Then we have subtraction. And then we have multiplication. And then we have, there we go. We have division. If I could spell that, there we go. And then we have modulus. Okay, now modulus is holding Shift and 5, and that's the percent symbol. So what modulus does is it gives us the remainder of an equation. So whenever we do division, like 7 divided by 3, it's going to give us the remainder of that. Okay, so 7 divided by 3 is going to give us a modulus of 1. So you want to think of 6 divided by 3 is 2, and then what's left over, whatever is remaining, is 1 of that. Okay. So now let's take a look at another arithmetic operators. We have plus plus, which equals the same thing as saying plus 1. So this is an incremental operator. And then we have the decrement, which is minus minus, and it's the same thing as saying minus 1. We'll see these in action later. Alright, so now that we have talked about the different assignment and arithmetic operators, let's see them in action. Now let's go ahead and get rid of the commenting because we've commented out everything below that. So to stop the multi-line comment, we need to reverse what we've typed up here. So we're going to type in Shift 8, which is the asterisk, and then /. Notice that everything is commented out in between, and then everything else is left alone. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove these three variables. Let's just have our public speed variable. Let's add in a couple more here. So the next one we're going to make is public float distance, and we're going to set this equal to 0.0f. And actually, let's do the same thing for our speed up here. Let's just set that to 0. Oops. And then below that, we're going to do one more. We're going to say public float time equals 0.0f. All right, perfect. So now that those are set, let's talk about how we can manipulate the data that's in each one of these variables. Let's go to our start function, and just above our print, let's go ahead and bring in an equation. So we're going to say speed equals distance divided by time. Okay, so a very simple equation. So now what we'll want to do is we'll go ahead and we'll hit Control S to save that. And I want to make sure that I'm printing out what my speed variable is so I can actually see that as we play. So what I'm going to say in my print message is that I'm going to say you are traveling at, and then we're going to do a space, and then after the end or the quotations here, we're going to do a plus symbol. And what this is going to do is it's going to append the data of the variable that we put in here. So I'm going to say speed, and then I'm going to append something else at the end of this. So we're going to do another plus, and then we're going to put in another set of string variables here. So we're going to say MPH, or space MPH. Okay. So the way it should read out whenever we print this is it should say you are traveling at whatever our speed is, miles per hour. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit Control S on that to save. Let's go into Unity, and you'll see here that in our example script in the inspector we have speed, distance, and time. Now speed for some reason was set to 10.5. Remember that it carried over from the last lesson based on what we had put into the inspector. So let's go ahead and set the speed to 0 as we don't want that to be changed. We're actually going to manipulate what speed is based on time and distance. Okay, so let's go ahead and set our distance to 200 miles an hour, okay, or 200 miles. And then we want to travel that 200 miles in, let's say, 3 hours. So if I go ahead and hit play, you'll notice that my speed is now set to 66.6 miles an hour. And notice that our message is saying you are traveling at 66.66 miles per hour. Perfect. We can come in and we can start to adjust these values. So let's say that we wanted to travel 200 miles and we wanted to do that within 2 hours. We can simply go ahead and hit play, and it says you are now traveling at 100 miles per hour. Okay, that's a little bit fast there. So now that we've talked about how to create variables and how to manipulate them with assignment and arithmetic operators, let's go ahead and talk about logic. And so we're going to look at the different comparison and logical operators that we can use inside of C#.